Hey guys, and welcome back to Fleetyards Review. I am Captain Foley.
And I'm Connor Cockings, and it's Orville time again. Always look forward to the Fridays, and definitely the Mondays.
That's right, lots to do. Anyway, we are reviewing episode, what is this, episode 6 now?
I think so.
Of the Orville. This one is entitled Krill.
The title is so subtle, the theme of the episode.
Indeed. Oh, by the way, guys, I cut myself shaving, so if I'm dabbing my neck, that's why. Nobody's perfect.
Did the Krill invade and...
Yes, I was, in the bathroom shaving, and they attacked the ship, and it shook, and I'm sorry, but they're gone now. We took care of that.
So, Stuart, we've not talked about this yet. What was your overall thoughts on this episode?
It was interesting to learn about the Krill a little bit, but I could have done without this episode. I didn't think it was remarkably well filmed, and the sets for the interior of the Krill ship didn't really impress me, so it felt very almost fan filmish. The main plot was pretty interesting, but overall, just mediocre for me.
Sounds great. We're finding one that we actually disagree on, which is unusual for this show. I absolutely loved this one. I thought it was possibly their best one yet.
Oh no!
Superbly well written. I actually laughed at about every single joke. I haven't had an episode where all the jokes actually hit. A lot happened, a lot of good stuff, so much good character development for the villains who are not as villainous or potentially more villainous, and it felt like they were a family, and it felt like this is what the Orville can do. It's take, there's such a breadth of sci-fi, and all these episodes have been done before in some form, but to take it uniquely in their universe, they are trying to world build, they're trying to universe build, and so to take an episode where simple concept and execute in such a Orville way, and yet have all those really good jokes and all those really good moments. And I was thoroughly entertained the whole time, and this is what I probably enjoyed the most. And the entire time I was like, I was trying to think of flaws, honestly, as I was watching, and I ended up, I was like, that's pretty great. Yeah.
Well, it should be an interesting review then. I mean,
yeah, first one with
two opposing points of view.
So yeah, first scene we have a mess hall scene with everybody. Now, what do you think of this scene? Because I love this scene.
Well, it's the camaraderie is nice to see the friendship building between them is all really awesome, and just sitting down having a meal. One guy's drinking a beer. I mean, it's just incredible the realism of it all, which you never really see in TNG. Yeah, you see them sitting down and having a meal in 10 Forward, but it's usually like two of them, and you don't really see like 6 of them sitting at a table just having a meal. If there are 6 of them at a table, it's the briefing room.
Yeah,
it's the conference room.
You don't get coffees in the briefing room, so
yeah. And even the poker game, there's just 4 of them, and it's not, it's that face of deceit for the poker game. You are hanging out with friends, but at the same time, just having a meal is totally different. Than
it's a scene about poker rather than a meal, which is an excuse to talk about anything else. Because you don't talk about the meal in the meal necessarily, talk about anything else. But I liked there was continuity in this. First line is, what happened when dumped the boyfriend and such. That was back continuity, and I think you're right. It's going to lead into more stuff with her maybe going after the captain, maybe because that's the 3rd time we've mentioned that. 2nd time,
yeah.
And then Isaac obviously suggesting that he's offering to help her out, and she politely refuses. What a ridiculously good line.
Yeah.
Very well played.
Kind of awkward, yeah.
But it shows that you like everybody.
Well,
that's kind of almost a dark thing in a sense, but it's a robot AI alien, but yet you like everybody, and it's funny, and it's sort of lighthearted, even though it can be like a little bit
Yeah, and that speaks a lot to 7 of 9's character as well. She had the same kind of approach to Harry Kim and stuff. So I thought that was awesome.
And then we get an interesting joke, which comes in a little later. I wonder if this can play a larger part. But Bortus' species can basically eat
anything.
Yeah.
It takes a big gob of wasabi. Which I could probably do, to be honest. I love hot food, so...
Yes, you do. Then it's napkin, what's that plant called? Cactus, and a glass.
Yeah.
Now, what do you think? I almost felt this joke was almost played too long, and it doesn't actually pay off later on, but it was kind of cute. That it was like, we learn something, we all basically become children again, Yeah.
Yeah. I could... I didn't think it played too long.
No, I'm saying it almost. It could have almost, but it was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, almost did.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
quite.
Okay. I thought the payoff for later was kind of funny. But anyway, we'll get to that when we get to that.
But I'm betting it's going to come in later on somewhere, 'cause it's quite a big. You could use that, couldn't you? Like, oh, I have to eat plutonium to save the mission. Or Rom. Yeah, fine, Captain. It's like, yeah.
Yeah. And I bet you that napkin was very high in fiber. What kind of fibers? I don't know.
Yes.
Anyway, so they get called to the bridge, and there is a planet under attack from the Krill. So,
Castor 4, a brand new colony.
Yep. So they're getting bombarded from orbit, and then I love how Captain Mercer's like, open a hailing frequency, and he starts speaking right away, which they do in Star Trek all the time. And she's like, no, just wait. I haven't opened the channel yet. Because I've always wondered that. Like, does the enemy captain only hear, it's Enterprise? Because they get, they're attacking us. I get the wrong impression because the frequency wasn't open yet. You think there'd be an indicator on screen, like a little light that said on air or something?
Yeah. Yeah. Or like it's like a Skype thing. The entire view screen flashes yellow, like it's calling, and then it opens. Like now you're now starting the call.
Yeah, that'd be cool actually.
Or a little symbol of the Krill ship, and it's a flash saying incoming. Yeah. Yeah. No. I think every joke pretty much in this entire episode hit for me. That again, it was like almost what you say in the situation, and felt very grounded and clever.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like since the writers are now learning more about his characters and learning how far to push things, I think they've refined the jokes. I mean, 6 in, these jokes were better, I felt. And I think we're going to see that get even more refined over the season.
Yeah. To be honest, I didn't really notice many of the jokes in this one, so I think that's what you said. They just hit so perfectly.
Yeah.
That nothing seemed like a misstep or out of place for the situation.
Yep.
So a very good point.
And there's this great shot where you see the two ships side by side, and it's like, it is big. It's such a TNG Deck shot. It's like, this is a big ship.
Mm-hmm.
The Krill, anyway, because they're attacking.
Mm-hmm. And then they get hit, and one of the panels bursts into flames. Well, what happened to the automatic fire suppression? That's the console that was hit. Again, that's a little in-joke to Star Trek and all the little fires which people have said over the years that wouldn't happen with advanced circuitry and whatever, but it's dramatic, so we have to include that. So
it's just funny because I mean there is limited advancement of technology.
Yeah.
What if the fire suppression system gets hit? Well, there isn't a fire suppression system to go out after the fire suppression system. And to appreciate an earlier line by Lil Bit, he said, "There are the women and children on the colony, probably lots of single people too."
Yes.
What do you think of this whole maneuver? Because they specifically say we're well outgunned by this ship, but obviously they're being attacked and they can't exactly run away. So what do you think of Ed's plan, and I guess the CGI realization of it?
I think it's brilliant. I mean, we've kind of seen one or two examples of this in TNG, where they pull that probe thing into the planet's atmosphere. They could see it because it was cloaked, the ultimate weapon or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an interesting take and a good tactic for a smaller ship to be able to take out a larger ship like that. So I thought it was very well done CG-wise as well. I thought it was a fantastic scene. So yeah. Yeah,
it's nice to see a whole different style of CGI realized, because it looks different. The way they did it, I think it's a different CGI company, just because you have to have particle effects and it's a different sort of CG. But I really liked it. It felt very real. It felt very neat. Very good cinematography, I thought. But like straightforward. Like the concept was realized perfectly. They didn't go overboard. They didn't need Dutch angle. They didn't need depth of field. They didn't need lens flare. It was a very well executed version of what you expect. And we know now that those back circle bits fire torpedoes, or the plasma torpedoes, because they were lit early on in the season. And we asked, what are they? Now we know they're off weapons.
Yeah, I got to point out too, before that maneuver where he pulls up, all I thought of was Top Gun. Hit the brakes, he'll fly right by. It's the same maneuver, but yeah, and he said fire all torpedoes, and Bortus is like, well, that'll leave us undefended, and just trust me, just follow my order. And it's like, I counted about 12 torpedoes there, so 12 out the back anyway.
Yeah.
So the rear tubes can hold at least 12. Don't know if that includes the front tubes as well, or how that works exactly.
Because you couldn't beam them from the front to the back tubes, and what they had maybe like 20 seconds, maybe. So do you really think? Okay, so ship design question: do you really think you design a ship that has tubes that are linked mechanically front and aft, so you could reassign armaments?
That would almost make sense. Yeah.
This seems very complex.
It does, but also it's simplistic at the same time. Better than building 2 torpedo bays and having running out in the forward bay in battle and having to transfer torpedoes mid battle, because we have some in the bridge tubes, but.
And again, we don't know the plot yet, but this, unlike Priya, which was a bit more by the book, this was a bit more creative and a bit more free-flowing.
Yeah.
And then they get this shuttle, and what do you think of this?
I was confused at that point. I'm like, is that another ship that was hiding there, or is that a decoy? What is this?
Yeah.
But then they explain that it's a shuttle, so it probably just got ejected from the bay during the explosion.
Yeah.
Which works. But at first I was pretty confused about what the hell was going on.
Yeah, everyone's like, I was like, it looks like a shard of the ship. Maybe it's like the energy core or something they can use to, just technology being board, not a full. I mean, it's pretty coincidental, but I mean, they've had lots of battles with these guys, and a shuttle's never survived. So it's just luck / plot convenience. But we haven't seen that shuttle enough to really know what it looks like properly. So it was kind of like, But again, they explained it in 5 seconds. But then, Stuart, the bit that I'm sure you want to talk about, we get a reveal
of a beautiful. It's actually a Leviathan-class heavy cruiser called the Olympia. And this thing, I had to rewind the first time because I'm like, oh, that's cool. I love the proportion of the rings in relation to the rest of the ship, but I'm sure we're going to talk about this in a separate video, guys. Because I think we'll see more of these eventually.
This encourages me that there is actually a fleet, like an actual fleet. We know we've seen single and dual ring ships, but yeah, this is nice to see even bigger. I mean, it'd be so great, like at the end of the season, we see like a fleet battle. And it's like, wow, this is some pretty big budget stuff for a comedy. But yeah, let's save on that. But so, what do you think of the plan then? They need to take a shuttle into Krill territory and learn about their sacred manuscript.
It's intriguing. Like she said, most races, when they become more advanced, kind of drop the religion aspect of their culture. This one embraced it and actually uses it in everyday life to. Validate what they're doing mission-wise. So I think it draws a lot of similarities between what's going on here on Earth. So it's an interesting take. They want to create peace by learning about their religion and maybe coming up with something in their religious text that they could use as an end to kind of get the peace talks going. So I think it's a fantastic idea, but I think it's a little harebrained at the moment. It's kind of rushed. They could study the shuttle a little bit longer. I don't know. I just thought it was a little rushed.
Yeah. The concept of the Krill, I mean, we didn't know anything about them. I think we mentioned that in our first review of their ship. And so to learn, we basically learn everything surface level about them in this episode. And a pretty fascinating culture. And obviously, yes, there are direct parallels with, religiousness and theocracy, although it's not clear if the Krill are ruled by a theocracy. It could just be democracy, but by the word of a book. Again, we'll get further into that, I think. It's interesting how this is sort of paralleling now Discovery with the Klingons, them being radicals, specifically radicals, with Kuvuma's sect being the radicals and everyone else being a bit more whatever, but them taking over. Whereas this culture, if everyone is of the same mind, and we don't know that yet, but the implication is that they're not radicals if everyone believes the same thing. Although it'd be nice to see later on there's, the nice Krill that are, stuck somewhere else, or the Marquis of the Krill, which would be cool. Krill Rebellion and such.
Yeah, and I think we should mention too that the book's called the Ancana. The
Ancada.
Yeah. And the one line that I really kind of snickered at was during that scene with the Admiral where he's like, "You make me look bad when company's over." Typical husband and wife kind of thing.
It's our house. Because it's their home. It's their house to them. So yeah. Having contextual dialogue for every thing. Now, I did not know Ancada was a car brand. So
Avis. Avis is the god, and Avis is a car rental place in the States.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
And that hit so many good jokes for me because it was just hilarious.
Yeah, I didn't get it, but I knew what they were going for when they explained it. But his subtle, like, he just kept throwing in jokes, and they were all good. And the end one with the motto was just, I didn't know what it was, but I got there was that joke, and I loved that. Because, hey, there'll be different words. Now, in terms of the plan, I will say, they just brought this, what do you say, it was Heavy Cruiser? This Leviathan?
Yeah.
Clearly more capable officers. So why are our characters doing this mission? They don't know the Krill better. They're not better trained. There's no specialist apart from the best pilot. But the piloting was a very minimal aspect of the mission, and you can't pilot away from a ship if it's got bigger guns. It's going to destroy you, and they can't go into Krill space to rescue them. So the piloting bit is very unhelpful. You would think you'd send 2 Black Ops people or 2 spies. So that's certainly a plot point of you know. If there was a signal over the comms saying we know they're doing something, we know they're doing a bomb or something now, you're the closest one in range. You've got the shuttle. You can do this mission. That's fine. That'd work. But to send an entire flagship in a sense and say we've got a better crew than you, but you guys are the best for the job.
Yeah, that was odd. I didn't even realize that until you said it. Yeah,
neither did I until I thought about it. Oh, but I like this episode a lot. But I like this episode. But again, that's just that's the with the ownership in the quadrant. It's like, why would you send Enterprise A in Star Trek 5? They're clearly not able to do the task, and yet you send them anyway.
Send a ship in the quadrant. I like that.
Send a different ship in the that was the most experienced captain, but send a different ship. It's just convenience for plot. But it was a great set of scenes though. So I'm not going to complain too much, but they certainly weren't the right people for the job. But hey, to be fair, they did a great job in their mission, so they were the right people for the job. Sort of.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then the next scene where the captain appears to be held hostage by a Krill, but it turns out they're actually using a miniature holographic generator.
Yes.
And he's like, I'm looking for Bortus. I want you to eat my weapon. That was a perfect payoff for me from that first scene. I actually I really liked in this one.
Yep.
Because it's something I would do with my friends.
Now, I'd seen a trailer which showed them holographic, so I knew that joke was coming by but it's like, nope, just still very, very well played. And for the crew, and they're like screwing them, and I appreciate, Kelly's then, what are you playing at? And he's like, I am scared, this is how I'm dealing with it. And then she's like, oh yeah, okay, that makes a lot of sense. So that's such a human second, such a human scene. I was like, wow, this really... you took this moment, and that's almost the justification for this entire show. Why are you not taking it seriously? Well, I'm scared. I'm having to deal with the situation while I'm using comedy, I'm using humour. That's how I'm dealing with it. So it was a great summation of the entire story. Yeah.
And one thing I found interesting was that Isaac was the one that supplied the miniature holographic generators, which got me thinking about a comment somebody made on one of our last reviews about Isaac's race.
Yep.
And the fact that his body looks so human. Did he choose a human body and use a holographic generator to create it to blend in with humans? Like, what does their race actually look like? Because it looks very much like a man with a helmet on. And they consider themselves superiors. So do they look different and maybe use holographic technology to present that way?
That's interesting. I mean, the fact that we've seen almost every single crew member be 2 arms, 2 legs means that the bipedal is the default race. So you wouldn't, if they're trying to blend in, you could have hair and
being
face
said,
pigment,
though, there's
but then it wouldn't be the same as aliens.
Yeah, and that being said, though, there's a scientist in the first one that's the aquatic scientist, and then there's the gelatinous guy.
Yep.
So,
but I mean, but if you're going to blend in with bipedals, if you look like a human, you're only going to blend in with them. So if you look like generic bipedal person, you're going to blend in with everybody better. So yeah, that's a really interesting idea. But I do think, though, the fact that we saw him die in the last episode, I don't think holographic technology would still be able to survive after the whole body got fried. But it's a really good idea. And I think that technology, again, like transporters and the time vortex, is going to open up some doors. But what bloody flawless technology throughout this episode? I mean, apart from the off button, it's bloody flawless.
Now the next scene where they launch the shuttle is interesting because they launch a shuttle that goes through the rings, and then it looks like it's about to jump to warp, but they cut to the next scene.
I was like,
it's almost like they cut the warp scene out because they needed to shave off some time. it was a misstep in my mind. It just didn't work. The editing there was kind of awful because it looked like it was just about to go to warp, and then all of a sudden there's the next.
Well, also
scene
there's a cut.
Yeah. I mean, we get it. It's going to warp, but I would.
But we didn't get it. We did get it. We needed to see the get it. I wanted to see it.
I don't know if you noticed that as well. Okay.
Yeah. So we get this great little, again, also like TNG going the shuttlecraft, nice bro scene. A lot of new sort of set pieces and things this episode, and this is very cheap and simple ones, but at least new ones. And then the shuttle playing the loud music and reading the data pad. And it's a really good scene. I mean, you can tell they're friends. I mean, I know that the chap, he plays several characters in Seth MacFarlane shows, so they're obviously have been friends for like a decade now. And you can see that there's some real chemistry with these two people.
Mm-hmm. And we learn a little bit about the Krill here, that their planet is almost perpetually in darkness. So that's why they wear helmets when they're on planet surfaces. They thought it was a military thing, but it turns out it's not. That's cool that they're learning that as they go. So
I appreciate
I thought that was awesome.
I appreciate the depth that this isn't just a sci-fi show. You know, they're trying to build worlds, whereas in a Galaxy Quest, you know, better story, better characters, but who are Saris's race? I don't know. Like, there's nothing low on the surface. This episode really did justice to the Krill, I think. And and again, something I've considered before, something we forgot. What are Krill names?
Yeah.
And I do love their alternates, and just that's a really good scene, very well written. And it's obviously, like, how, if you've never been on a ship, you've never met them, who are you? Random words. That's not even what? Yeah, I can.
Chris and Devin. Anyway,
so many good jokes in this one.
Yeah. My next note: once they get on the ship and are on the bridge, I love the Krill armor. It's so nice. I mean, I like Cardassian armor as well in Star Trek, and I think this is a step above that. It just looks amazing. So really good job on their costume design.
It does look like biker wear, but it's very well integrated into the body. Like, the overall look is excellent, and that face makeup is really good. Yeah. And you know, props to whoever's been doing it. You know, it's definitely a Michael Westmore quality from Star Trek. And I will say, the excellent variation in faces and body shapes in this episode. Obviously, we're seeing a full crew, but I really got a feeling of an entire crew. You know, it wasn't. You know, I even felt maybe more variation than Klingons when they started. You know, it was more subtle changes in ridges. I felt more differences here. I mean, you've got to look for them, but that's, you know, difference between everyone looks the same versus you're actually trying to feel different people. I appreciate it. It was nice.
Yeah. And this scene too is where some of my gripes come in. I mean, this bridge just seems very simplistic and thrown together.
Yeah.
It seems very TOS, you know, alien main computer room kind of cheap. I mean, it's perfect layout for a race that is warlike, to have just the captain and a few standing consoles where he can see, and nothing behind him, so nobody can like come in and betray him or whatever, stab him in the back. So I mean, it works on that level, but at the same time, I just thought it was a little bit cheap for a bridge set. But
didn't bother me. I mean, obviously the ship's way too big to have a bridge that small. Anyway, yeah. I mean, look at the Orville's bridge is well about the same size. Yeah, I mean, it looks very much like a Goa'uld from Stargate mothership bridge, even with a very similar window. But again, you don't spend too much time there. But I appreciate at least we had the sets. Yeah. I will say though, unlike a lot of other Trek shows, you didn't get a real sense of the like how do they design ships? How do they design tunnels? Oh. It's just greeny corridors. There isn't any art design so much.
That being said, I think we saw more of this Krill ship than we did of any other ship really in Star Trek. I mean, we do see a Romulan bridge in the one episode where Troy's over there.
Face of Evil. We see a whole load of sets in that one. Yeah.
Yeah. But generally, for Star Trek bridges, we only see like a cheap little scene again on a view screen. So the fact that they went in and actually established this look for the Krill is awesome.
Yeah, and they explain why the lights are so low, and all those things which were clever. And instantly, instantly when we're in this ship, I'm thinking, right, where is this going to go from here? You know, how much we're going to learn, how far they're going to take this, how serious they're going to take this. Because again, it started out being much more of a comedy show. This was a much more serious episode. But I absolutely adored the captain's makeup. You can tell they went a little bit further on his makeup. You know, bit extra detail. There's a scar. I love his armor. It's got that gold trim, which no one else has. Pops. And that religious chap, what an incredible costume. I mean, seriously, that's a really nice, intricate piece. But yet, the same. Like, look at the shoulder pads and stuff.
Yeah.
That was very nicely done. And then I did appreciate them trying to go through the door. Again, little jokes I liked, because they're not in their own, like, physical body space, so why would they? Yeah, exactly. They don't. These aren't their bodies, but they're suddenly having to deal with them. I thought that was great.
Yeah. And not being able to cross your arms with the armor on was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's great. They added humanisms which just can't work in this society.
Yeah.
Or they don't know, and there's many of those jokes. And I think, again, they all hit for me. And what do you think about the introduction of Steercrat, and then they go to this church location? What do you think about? What do you think about the introduction really to their species? Because this was a proper introduction.
It was great because it really fleshed them out. They weren't just a two-dimensional enemy that you hear about and don't really know anything about. So I love that they explored it a little bit. But yeah, going to the chapel thing, amazing. They should have noted the time, because that'd be a good time to attack a Krill ship. Just saying.
The captain is off the bridge. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good point, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. And then this is where the Avis jokes all started coming in. That was beautifully done, and I've heard of Avis. I don't see a lot of the commercials. I've seen a few when I've been in the States or whatever. But yeah, him using all the taglines from the commercials was awesome.
And even someone who's never seen them and never heard of the brand, it worked.
Yeah.
Contextually, it works. He explained it just enough, and then you obviously get introduced to this other lady, and I appreciate the distinct different feel in the female version of the makeup. I wasn't expecting that, but it's softer but also pointier. Like there's as it seems they don't have the chin heads and the side spikes aren't out as prevalent, but also they've got thinner faces which are pointier, so it's an interesting in between. And they look great. I mean, it actually again really fleshed out the species.
Yeah. I love the differentiation in the chin. I mean, it's very much like a, male and female on Earth. We can grow facial hair,
Well, there you go. That's a good way of talking about it.
Yeah.
And so we get introduced to Severed Head, which doesn't last very long. Bit more gruesome than I was expecting from Orville, honestly. And played pretty powerfully.
Yeah, it would make me pretty nervous to be on the ship after having seen that. So, but yeah, that did shock me as well. But it shows the ruthlessness of the Krill.
Yep.
They believe that they're doing the right thing based on their religion, so it's just interesting take.
Yeah, in the backstory they were saying that the Krill, just like older Earth societies, they believe that obviously they were created by a god, which means they are the chosen people, which means all life is subservient to them because they are the one chosen people.
Yeah.
And so they want to conquer this land. Well, it's their land by default, obviously. So and this human was there, and it's interesting to show that I guess they are very much against the Union specifically because it was a human, it wasn't anyone else. So those sorts of tensions, it very much is the human expansionism versus the Krill expansionism. That is the battle we're going to get. I just want to jump back a little bit for a few little jokes I noticed. Before they get to the chapel, there's a long corridor scene with a very, very long chat about nothing. As we would say, chat shit. It was a long, that scene. But it was 45 seconds, whereas 45 seconds, 12 seconds, it was about 34 seconds of a continuous corridor with 3 full corners. They built a lot of that. I mean, it was a very simple corridor, but they built a lot of corridor set to be able to do continuous walk and talk. And I was like, oh, nice. Good job, guys. Because that's one of the best things about TNG. They're like this long minute conversation piece. It's never cut, never stop. Just round corridors. You get a sense of a ship. It's not just, here is one flat, and you can walk along it, and then cut, and then change angle, and I appreciate that. That was nice.
Yeah. Never really considered that, but thank you for pointing it out. Now, then they sneak back in, and they start scanning the book page by page, and they don't even open up to the beginning. They're actually like 30 or 40 pages in when they flip open the book initially. I thought that was an odd way of doing it. I'd like either take the book and get on the shuttle and get out of there. or well, I guess there's no other really way to do it, but just seemed very not proficient.
That certainly was odd. Now I can imagine, like, paper is pretty thin, but also has a molecular 3D thing. If you can 3D print things, you can 3D scan things. You know.
You'd think, yeah.
So I would assume just scan the whole thing, and then you can dissect it layer by layer. That's just me, future tech. Yeah, a very bad plan. And I love the Xerox line later on. We just hate to Xerox it. It's like, yes, you were. That was great, but very inefficient and a bad plan if you think about it. I mean, especially since you have no idea. Literally, that was the whole point. You have no idea what the culture is of this species.
Yeah.
You have no idea how long until the next person's going to walk in. So certainly sloppy. But again, I guess it's their one chance.
Yeah. I also wrote down universal translators. Do you think they're built into the holographic technology? So they can... Because I didn't know how that would work. It just seemed odd that everybody's just... Oh, yeah, we just know their language, or they're speaking English.
Well, that's the question, is it on the Orville? How many species? I mean, is the blob creature speaking English, or is he speaking Blobinese? You know, is Boruto speaking... I mean, the fact there's such a large crew would imply, I doubt everyone speaking the universal English language, because who made Earth the centre of the empire, so probably universal translator. I mean, it's the same as obviously Star Trek. I mean, if they get as an excuse, why shouldn't you? And the fact that Isaac's race is so far advanced. I mean, the Krill aren't exactly a very advanced race, so I would assume they'd have the technology and do part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, in Star Trek, it's just explained away that it's built into their communicators and stuff, the universal translator. But yeah, I think maybe it's part of the holographic technology or part of their uniforms as well, because they're wearing their uniforms underneath the holographic. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah, one little joke we missed when they're standing up in the church and they're reciting things. They say something and he says, "Canis Everdeen."
Yes, because it rhymed with what they were saying.
Yeah. Just
I thought I misheard that the first time.
Yeah, me too.
And then the second time, it's like, oh yeah, okay. Yeah, it was
just
funny.
Very smartly written, or it just appealed to my humour. And we had baths together with
yeah, that was stop
him and
with
Karkov.
that. Just don't say you know him. That's just dumb. And the captain's like, "What are you doing?"
But that's the trope. They're playing on the trope and then pushing it way too far for the joke of it. I think the bath joke was worth it.
Yeah,
I'd like to. And then so the religious guy walks in again. Excellent costume, excellent makeup, great voice actor. I can't visualize the guy, but I recognize the voice actor straight away. Mm-hmm. Love the presence. I really hope we see him again.
You won't, because he died.
Damn it.
But yeah, he's very imposing with the makeup, the contrast between the white and the red uniform, and just the religious, like the necklace, and it's just very, it's a
powerful,
great image. Yeah,
I like the fact that it's sun imagery despite them never seeing the sun.
Yeah, well,
which is interesting. Yeah. Or maybe maybe the religious cast is in that 4% of the planet that has sunlight, so they get to see the sunlight, and no one else does, and that's why they're priests. Yeah. And I will just say, because I think everyone's thinking it, it's funny how you've got the head of the villain from Star Trek Beyond and the clothes from the savages of Star Trek Into Darkness.
Yeah, I wasn't going to say it, but yeah.
But I did. But it's great.
And then they're back in their quarters, which they compared to a dungeon because it's pretty sparse, much like the Klingons. I mean, that's fine. But Ed's looking at a display, and he's talking about their literature, and how is he being it? How can he read that is my question.
Yeah. I have no answer for you, Stuart. I have no answer for you.
Anyway,
so they go back. Now this is when the plot, I think, this is the show's weakest point. They keep going back and forth. That's
that's one of the things I didn't like about this episode. It just seemed very drawn out, like they didn't have a long enough script, so they had to do the subterfuge where they go back.
Well, I thought the scripting was, and I mean, pace was fine, but the fact they spent so much in what they did, they had to make it last, and so back to the room, back to whatever. But again, it makes total sense. If you're on this ship, you've got assigned quarters, no one's going to bother you necessarily. That's the only place you'd feel safe. So of course you would jump there, back. You're not going to talk in corridors. So it was very real.
Yeah.
Just not very exciting, you know?
Yeah. And the thing here too with them scanning the book was interesting because if you noticed, it captured the image and then it immediately translated it before it went.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, if you watch, it captures both rows and then it changes the text.
Yeah, okay.
It's very cool. I'm like, okay, well that makes sense why I'm scanning each page. I mean, I thought the scanning method was very sloppy and very not up to the technology, but what are you gonna do?
We have to go some
just steal the damn book.
Yeah. But yeah, and then we see what's his name, Artis? Avis. Great picture.
Oh, awesome.
Great pushing of the iconography. I guess they are into war and destruction. That is the Krill way.
Certainly looks like it. What does Gordon say? It looks like a douche.
So then the priest is like, yes, no, I don't trust them, which is fine. Again, I felt every beat was very realistic. For the most part, it was a nice. Cause it's slow, but it's well thought out. And then put a guard on the church. The holographic goes down, which I thought was great. The escape was a little bit cheesy, but
it was very cheesy. Watching it back, I'm like, well, he would see them there, he would see them there. Then they get out in the hallway, and he would see Gordon like clear as day from that angle. But especially at the end. But you got to remember though, he's expecting to see a Krill who's a lot bigger than humans. So it's like if you take a sip of your drink, you think it's orange juice, but you've actually poured apple juice. You take a sip, your brain says, well, that tastes wrong, and you suddenly ruin it. If you walk into a room and it's actually the outside is a destroyed building, the inside is a Apple store, your brain will go, huh? So the fact is he's walking into that room not expecting to see anybody because he's just guarding it just in case, and expecting to see Krill if he does see anybody, and they're to hide would be really difficult as well. So he's not, and it's also on a ship. He's probably never had to guard anything on a ship before necessarily because everyone trusts each other. So I can certainly see him as just being like, oh, I'll have a bit of a look around. Yeah, okay, I'll buy that.
Yeah. And they fix the holo projectors, and then they find. I appreciate this was a nice way of getting it from A to B. The holo projectors are stopping working because of neutron radiation, because of a bomb.
Yes, a neutron, whatever. And they were going to attack Rana 3, which is a farming
Mana
colony.
3. Yeah. And it's a prototype neutron field generator. Destroys all life on a continent in minutes. Big ass bomb. And they get information via the lady. What do you think about this reveal? They're now, the prototype death ship.
Very convenient.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's called a story of a TV show. You just gotta have the things that happen.
I know. Yeah. This is an episode I could very much see TNG-ized.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So.
But the thing is, the Krill are so now unique to their version of the universe that it works in their context. And also, I appreciate the gach reference, the noodles in the plate.
Yeah, and he's like.
Yep. That's such a Klingon reference because we've seen so many episodes where they're on Klingon ships and hiding. So we've had that before. And I also like how she gives away the secrets so easily because again, why wouldn't you? Everyone treats it like an average thing, which I liked. The pace went at a nice, a nice good pace. It wasn't ever too slow, it wasn't ever too fast. And then we get a really strong reveal, I thought, of the kids. And the makeup is glorious, and the diversity is glorious. And I was like, oh,
yeah,
darn.
And I love the Hertz is our god, or the human's god. Hertz Rent-A-Car. Surprised they didn't make a reference to Enterprise, to be honest.
Oh yeah, I probably got in trouble. Yes, we all pray to the Enterprise. Wink, wink. All power to the engines.
Yeah, and then one of the best quotes from this episode: "Judge not a stranger by his sheath, but by his sword." So don't judge a book by its cover. Don't judge a person by how they look. Judge it by what's inside.
And is that what the tramp stamp says as well, Stuart?
I can't read my tramp stamp. I don't know what they tattooed down there.
I thought there were so many bad things I could say about that before there, so I can't say them. Yeah, again, some really strong jokes in this episode. Now, what do you think about them having a school on their Dreadnought battlecruiser?
Makes perfect sense. Why not? I mean, Klingons wouldn't necessarily. They wouldn't have their families on board, but it is a huge ship. So it's like the Galaxy class of the Krill fleet. So yeah, no problem with that at all. I just for a Klingon, I wouldn't equate that to Klingon at all. Maybe Cardassian.
But I think this episode is letting us diverge them further and further away from, because I mean they would certainly have the Romulan feel with the ship design, a bit of Klingon feel with the armor maybe, but I think we're certainly pushing them in their own direction now. And I mean I was surprised that they instantly had a plan to kill everybody. But again, you've got to, and they sort of rationalise at the end, but it's like, well, they're going to go kill 100,000 people, so we've got to stop them. But the fact is, we're being shown real people on this ship that we don't want to see hurt. I mean, even though they're the bad guys, none of them have been bad per se in the context of who they are, and so I don't want to see any of them get destroyed. But okay, there might be 1,000 people on this ship, 2,000 if they've got kids. I mean, but should we let 2,000 survive to not say 10,000 and even more innocent because it's a warship who signed up for this? They're just farmers. Yeah,
that's the moral dilemma of the whole episode, which really strikes home at the very end of the episode. So
we'll dial back. Yeah, we'll dial back there. But I appreciate the fact that we saw the kids, because instantly, I love the paradigm changed. And again, just like how you would feel, I think, I really brought it. Well, really brought it home.
I hate kids.
Oh, okay, not for you. You'd be like,
I'm just kidding.
You be the test guys first. We'll first.
Oh, we're going on a field trip, kids. Hop in the shuttle, launch the shuttle, then destroy the ship. I don't know. There's,
shoot them into a star and open the doors. But I liked the questions they were being asked, though. Have you got a soul? Of course they haven't. No, and all the how many of you killed? I don't know. I'll check my notes.
Yeah.
Just really strong jokes. And the kid comes back and says, "Hey," and is on the plot point later on. We don't need to go into that much, but kind of a cute scene saying where Earth is.
Pointing out Earth and then go play in traffic. I laughed at that. I thought that was hilarious. A typical Seth MacFarlane line there.
Yeah, and we get a nice view of the quarters, and they're god awful in terms of comfort. So I guess they don't like comfort, or even, well, I guess it's not personal quarters because they gave them ones that were spare, so there wouldn't be any amenities there. For some reason, I really like the next joke where he sees the guard in the corridor, says, "I really think there should be a
Velvet Avis."
And he's like,
instead of Black Velvet Avis instead of a Black Velvet Elvis.
Oh, I didn't know that was a joke.
Yeah, it's a huge joke.
Oh, okay. I just thought it was funny because then he says, "Yeah, I think that would look good," and he's just so genuine about that. I was like, yeah, that
smash.
I just love that beat so much.
But before that, we missed something. They're space vampires.
Oh yeah, I hadn't written that down.
That was awesome. I thought I got a good chuckle out of that too. So,
they're going to re-utilize their own lighting system to do UV to then kill everybody. Pretty dark strategy, really.
My question is, Ed was looking into the classroom at this point after he knocked the guard out, and all the kids were there. And he goes, "Might as well set the bomb or the surge for 10 minutes just to be on the safe side." I'm like, why? They're already in the classroom. Just do it now. You don't have to wait 10 minutes.
Well, because the one kid is in the quarters.
He didn't know that yet.
He didn't know that yet. Yeah.
No, because I would have just done it then, and because he was looking through saying, "Oh, the kids are there. Okay, fine. Set it for 10 minutes to be safe."
It's true.
I wouldn't. I just do it now. I'm not going to be affected by it. I'm going to get a sunburn.
Yeah. That's true.
So I thought that was odd to set it for 10 minutes. That's just a plot point.
Yeah, no, you're right. The scene should have been flipped. It would have been made sense, but the editing made that not make sense. No, I agree.
Yeah, if he had noticed the kid wasn't there, he set it for 10 minutes. I got to go find the kid.
Yeah.
That would have been better.
And I'll meet you at the shuttle sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, otherwise, why give it 10 minutes to be stopped? I mean, you've got no backup plan here. If you get stopped, you're dead. I mean, you can get head stabbed. I mean, you're dead. Yeah, but then the thing gets found out, and I really like this scene. He's like, "What's this? Oh, it's a toy." A toy? Yeah, my friend's cosplayer, and I'm the damn human. It's like, oh my god, what a great idea. But it's funny. I was wondering the whole episode. They keep saying humanistic things. Do the Krill actually also have these concepts? Does he also understand cosplay? Is it actually a thing? Because he was not fazed by it, which makes me think these are things. I love the idea of cosplaying Krill on their planet just
Yeah.
doing stuff. I love that.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that, because remember when Ed said rank has its privileges?
Yep,
And the guy's like, I've never heard that before. Who
that
says
was
it?
great. I guess I do.
It's very wise. So then they take him to the bridge, and this is hilarious because he gets stabbed in the leg. And it's like, that's a brand new leg. And again, that continues that whole continuity
Yep.
of the show, which is awesome.
Yeah. I also liked that he actually said the truth. Like, they weren't even torturing him. Like, no, we're here for peace. But we had a bomb. Yeah, then it became about the bomb. You're lying. It's like, I can't win.
Well,
Like
you as the Krill, you'd think, oh, they have intel that
Yeah,
they knew we had the bomb, so they were here for that. How did they get that? You know.
But again, I like how just real it was. You know, everyone played the part that you think they would. You know.
Mm-hmm.
And then I love this little close up of the dude with his makeup, his armor, his little sun logos on his lapels, scar. Just really incredible look.
Yeah, awesome. And then they actually launch the warhead,
Yeah. and
and then the surge happens, and the surge is
Ooh.
pretty devastating. I didn't really expect that, but yeah, they look like like roasting marshmallows, and it got caught on fire, and you blow it out, and it's got all the
Yeah,
pretty
imagine
gruesome.
imagine the Buffy Vampire Slayer, you know, getting stabbed in the heart, becoming a skeleton, but not actually disappearing, just having a whole body shape, like a whole body just basically being covered in lava, and it was super gruesome, it felt like a massacre. And there's the moment when you see everyone dead on the bridge, and I was like, I feel really sorry for these guys, because they're also just doing their jobs. I mean, yes, they're gonna kill 100,000 people, but you know, we've sort of grown to at least have a relationship with these people over these 35 minutes of this part, and I was like, damn, you just murdered every single one of them. And I was like, oh, you know, it really puts in perspective when you shoot a ship from orbit, you know, or a space battle and everyone blows up. It's, oh no, you destroyed the ship. No, you destroyed the ship and killed all the people. There's that line.
Yeah.
I really felt it on this one. I was kind of surprised how much a comedy show, you know, got me. That's the point of the scene, and I appreciate that it did it so well.
Mm-hmm. And then a funny line when she asks, "What did you do?" He's like, "Okay, don't be mad." Typical, you know, response, or typical thing you say before you've got to explain something. Yeah, so I thought that was pretty hilarious.
But you missed
But
the
anyway,
thing. They blew up the bomb. That's important.
Yeah.
Colony's safe.
I was just about to say that.
Okay. And they now have the ship. They're towing it back. So they accidentally got a shuttle. They accidentally got a full battleship with many destroyer. I mean, what an incredible turnout for the Union. Seriously.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they won. I mean, it's like getting the Bird of Prey in Star Trek 4. It's like, ooh.
So I'm thinking this Krill ship's going to come important later.
Yeah.
And maybe get it behind enemy lines with the crew of the Orville or something. I don't know. But I think it's going to come in important later. And then they actually have the full book.
I was about to say, yeah, they got the book now. They you know. He's like, wow, I wasted 4 hours doing the recording. Could just on the book.
Yeah.
And then this last scene, he walks in with an incredible bit of acting face, and so that they killed everyone on the ship except the classroom, which had the teacher and all the kids, and so the kids were survived, and this one officer who we've got to know for the episode, and she's like, you know, thought you'd be too cowardly to come see me, and I'll let you talk about the dialogue in the scene a little bit, because it's just really, really strong scene.
Yeah, this is where it's basically a catch-22. She's like, why did you save the kids? And he goes, well, they're the kids. They have their whole lives ahead of them. They're not my enemy. You know, they can be better. And she's like, well, they're your enemy now after they saw what you did to the crew, which was pretty brutal. But it's a catch-22 that he had to save 100,000 people of his own people, kill a crew of maybe 1,000. And it's one of those moral dilemmas that Star Trek is very good at doing. TNG.
Mm-hmm.
It just leaves you at the end going, there was no choice.
But you feel like there must have been.
Yeah, but it definitely wasn't. It's one of those things that it's just a hard decision to have to live with, I think. And I think it was done fantastically. That plot point in this episode.
Yeah.
So overall, the whole episode didn't impress me, but that plot point was very powerful. So.
Yeah, this last scene is a payoff of, really incredible proportion. The dialogue was, every line was like slicing into your skin. It was on point. Trying to make metaphor work there. And yeah, the fact is, both sides can justify what they're doing. She can justify. I mean, she was very happy about murdering the innocent and the defenseless. She was actually saying, well, that's why they're a great target, because they're defenseless. So she has no high ground. But the fact is, she just saw she saw at least the bodies around her entire crew dying, and she's probably served with them for years. How many of the kids' parents? I never considered that, but I mean, all their parents now dead. That's pretty dramatic. And yeah, every single one of those kids which are now going home, they now have a reason to hate the Union. They now have a reason to want them dead. They now know that they have no souls, because from their perspective, they just massacred the crew of innocent people. Did they know about the bomb? If they didn't know about the bomb, they just thought they were learning, and now all their parents are dead. So yeah, it's going to harden their hearts and make a whole new generation of people. But who's in the wrong here, who's in the right here? It's very powerful. And I like the last line. You're right, she said, but they will be. And if you note, the music was a twist on the Yoda line from Empire. You will be. And it's like, it literally is almost the exact thing. I was like, oh, you composer, you clever bleepy bleeper. Ooh.
I turned to Sylvia and I quoted the Yoda line.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid.
Well, you will be. You will be.
And she was great in this part.
Yeah.
She had a really good balance. You actually liked her, and I hope she's back. And it shows you how much there's so much makeup up here, but this is still very accessible. Having just a bit there, really, really well done makeup, and you got a lot out of it. And she was really great in it. Should I do my overall thoughts then back to yours, or had you already said yours? Yeah, so I thought this was, in terms of, they realised the concept best, the pace was excellent, very realistic, characters were really good, you really felt for the Krill. In terms of realising another alien race, excellent, better than like the Herodian did. They're sort of one-dimensional but in a two-dimensional way, because you appreciate that there's levels to it, maybe. A theocracy is always challenging, because there's going to be levels of how much you buy into that. But also, is there, like I said, is there a marquee? Is there whatnot? But also, it gives them really interesting depth. And the acting was really solid. I did think, though, I did notice, well, in the start, Ed, Seth MacFarlane, I thought his acting was a bit stilted compared to when he was acting alongside Kelly. She was clearly better. But she's a good actress. He's not the best actor. He think I let down a little bit. But when he's in the makeup, obviously, there's less to act with. I think they did a great job. They did better when they're actually in the makeup, which was kind of strange to say. But I think great acting, great characterizations, and I'm really intrigued. And I think for an episode 6, this was their strongest in terms of the Orville universe and what the Orville can do, and the fact that the plot didn't dissolve at any point, really. I really enjoyed it. So yeah, this is excellent. I want to watch it again almost.
Okay, my thoughts are, I had a lot of great moments. And some really witty dialogue, which I really appreciated.
Very well written, this one.
I think the sets on the Krill ship are very lacking. Personally, I just didn't really enjoy them. They weren't visually interesting to me. It just seemed very dull in the middle. And like you said, they were going back and forth between the chapel and their quarters. I think this episode would have served better to have a B plot taking place on the Orville at the same time, to maybe intercut with that, to kind of give some lightheartedness to, because it really wasn't a heavily handed dramatic episode until the very end, when you find out that last little bit of dialogue really put everything what happened into perspective, and you think, oh my god, this morally was a fantastic episode as far as that plot point. But I think they needed a B plot, maybe something going on in the Orville, to get rid of those middle scenes and make those more condensed, more focused, instead of quarters, back to school, back quarters, back to the chapel. I just thought that was very sloppily done. That's just me. But yeah, overall is an all right episode, but definitely not one of my favorites. But as far as moral dilemmas go, it's right up there with About a Girl, as far as social commentary, and I think that's an important point of this episode for sure. But overall, just not one of my favorites. I could probably go without ever watching this one again, just because I found it kind of dull, and because that's a really heavy-handed plot point that really hits home, and when you think about it, it really kind of depresses me. So, I mean,
Yeah.
that's where I stand.
Whereas I like all the little subtleties, the really excellent dialogue, the creature realised so well. You know, most creatures in Trek weren't given such a good treatment from a single episode. And just like in Discovery, you know, we talked about how pulling away from the human characters really detracted from the show. When you then had episode 3, it was 100% humans. They could put so much story in. So I liked the pure focus because it really gave us a chance to experience, and also at a very realistic pace. Like, it's just, we have to deal with this. You know, it's a very sort of 1, 2, 3, 4 step sort of way. But hey, that's personal preference for this one, and that's absolutely fine. But 5 out of 10, Stuart?
I'll give it a 7.
I want to give it a 9. Because again, the set pieces. I mean, the fact they built them all was excellent. But there's so many worse one-off, you know, ships in Star Trek. So I'm not going to pull them away for simple design. I mean, the CG set in the first one, I did pull it away from. But it's like, well, it's just alien ship. I mean, it's, you know.
Well, I thought the bridge and the corridors and anyway, the one with the ship that was was basically a planet. They didn't know they were on a ship. That one, I forget the name of it. Something about the stars.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that bridge and those corridors leading into the ship were much more fleshed out and much more dramatic than these corridors, which is supposed to be this is going to be a common enemy we see on the show. I just think that one-off ship was way more fleshed out than this ship was.
I agree about the corridor. Disagree about the bridge though, because that was just a big open space with one console and two things. This had more practical usage out of it. But when I'm looking back, I realised it's a Gould Mothership bridge. I'm like, yeah, you nicked the same design. That's fine. But hey, yeah, you're right. I do think that if they should have written in more episodes, knowing we're gonna have this set, so they could put 2 or 3 episodes worth of set budget into it. But that's obviously where having an entire secondary subplot throughout the whole show of being with these aliens would mean you have a really good set. So, you know, it's almost a one-off, but might not be one-off. We'll see. But yeah, There you go.
So what do you guys think? Please let us know in the comments below. We always love hearing your thoughts. And did you think it was one of the best episodes, or was it kind of meh for you? Always love to find that out. So what do you think about this episode? If you liked it, click the like button. Don't forget to subscribe so you hear more of our reviews on not only this show, but also Discovery and all the other stuff we do, because we do a lot of stuff.
If you want to support us directly, though, you've got 2 great ways. Either Patreon, a monthly donation service a lot of YouTubers use, because it helps you directly support the channels that you love and help us make not a single show, but all different shows every single week, sometimes every single day. A lot of good stuff you'd watch every single month. And a lot of you watch us all the time, and a little bit of support from you, you know, you would not notice $1 a month, $5 a month, and the amount of hours of content you're getting really is worth that if you break it down. So if you can support, please do. Or a one-time donation at trekyards.com, like a tip or a thank you, or just a well done, or a boy, I love that episode, here is $10. Something small, but if enough of you help, it really makes a difference, and we can then buy kit and do trips and things, and it all mounts up, really does.
That's right. So looking forward to seeing the next review. Orville is a good show, and I'm really excited each week to dive into it.
Absolutely.
So until next time, guys, I'm Captain Foley.
I am Commander Kongs.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.